Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. My name is Mark Roden. In today's video, we're going to be going over the 13 cars that I personally never talk about for less than, what was it, $5,000 I want to say. I can't really remember right now. Actually, I'm the worst YouTuber known to mankind. But there are 13 of them. They're cheap, and I don't talk about them often. Obviously, I do a ton of videos about cheap cars. It's just my whole thing, you know what I'm saying? I always am just doing cheap car videos. And so I've talked about a lot of cars, and here are 13 that I either have never talked about before, as far as I can remember, or I very, very rarely talk about them, that I still think are pretty good, but I just always forget about them when making videos. So these are the 13 of them. And yeah, song of the day is called "Say It Right" by Nelly Furtado. It's a girl song, man, but it's a banger. It's a classic. It's like a 2000s, you know, one of those going to the club 2000s songs. God, it feels so good to listen to in the summertime, man. It's just great. Also, go check out the YouTube shorts, guys. I've been making some YouTube shorts on this channel recently. Go give them a listen. Go give them a listen. But without further ado, let's go right into it with number 13, the 13th car that I don't talk about that often for less than $5,000. And that, by the way, is going to the Honda Civic EF. Now, I want to make it very clear that this list is not in ascending order in terms of how good they are. They're in ascending order in terms of how likely it is that I've talked about them. Okay, you know, so like first place isn't actually, in my opinion, the best car on this list. It's just the one that I think I know for a fact that I've never even mentioned on this channel, and that's the reason why it's first place. But yeah, the Honda Civic EF comes with a 1.5 liter inline 4, making 70 horsepower, and it is front wheel drive. Obviously, that is race car status, bad boy. Obviously, these things are very lightweight. Now, the reason why this is all the way down here is because I have talked about Civics before. I'm sure in one video or another, I've talked about the EF too. And so that's why it's here at the 13th spot. But yeah, Civics are great. I love them. I just always forget to talk about the EF because I always talk about the EGs or the EKs. Coming in at the number 12 spot, however, is another one that's kind of surprising, but the BMW 640i E63. As most of you guys probably know, I'm a big BMW fan. I love BMWs. I talk about them all the time. And so if there's a BMW out there that I don't talk about, that's very, very rare. And this is one of those ones that I feel like I've never mentioned before. The car comes with a 4.8 liter V8, making 360 horsepower, and it is rear wheel drive. Obviously, that's a pretty good combo and everything, so you're probably like, well, how the hell is this car under $5,000? Like, that's a steal of a deal. A V8 making 300 plus horsepower going to the rear wheels, and a BMW too, so it's obviously got like a nice interior. It's luxurious. Well, it's the reliability and the looks. A lot of people don't like the looks of the rear ends on the E63s. I didn't for the longest time, but I'm starting to grow on them. I like these cars. They're pretty cool. And I never really get the chance to talk about 6 Series in general. And when I do, I'm always talking about the E24 or the next one, which I think is called like the F50, F40. I can't remember. Coming in at the number 11 spot, barely missing out on the top 10, is another one of those cars where it's like, yeah, I've talked about this car a lot, but not this specific generation of the car, because I always just talk about the next generation, which in my opinion is better, the Volkswagen Jetta Mark III. Yeah, like I said, I do think overall, just like with the EF Civic we talked about earlier, for the price you're buying an EF Civic for, it'd just be better to just buy a 6th generation. And the same thing with this car, I do think it would just be better to buy a Mark IV, and that's the reason why I talk about Mark IVs and not Mark IIIs. But they are still good cars. They come with a 2 liter inline 4, making 115 horsepower, and it is front wheel drive, just like the Civic. It's the German Civic, realistically speaking. It's a little bit newer though than the Civic. It does have a little bit more space, I would say, than the Civic. Just as reliable. They're pretty much the same exact car, same amount of horsepower. I think personally I would rather have the Civic, but I definitely talk about Civics more, so that's why I put the Jetta a little bit higher. Breaking its way into the top 10, however, Folktales, is going to the wonderful Dodge Ram 1500 3rd generation. First of all, I don't talk about trucks that often, and if I do talk about trucks, usually they're small trucks, things like Ford Rangers, Toyota Tacomas, Nissan hard bodies, smaller Dodge Dakota style trucks, and the big full-size trucks I don't really talk about just because I don't really know too much about them, but this is one that I've always kind of looked at and liked. Now, there is a little bit of a problem though. They come with a 5.7 liter V8, making 345 horsepower, and they are 4x4. Obviously, that sounds like a really good combination, and it is at first, but then you get into the transmission. These trucks apparently have horrible transmission issues. Almost every one of these trucks has a bad tranny in it, so keep that in mind. I love the trucks. I love how they look, in 345 horsepower in a V8 from factory. That's pretty good, even for a truck. But overall, yeah, the tranny does keep it away a little bit. But yeah, I don't talk about trucks enough, man. And when I do talk about trucks, it's just Silverados. Coming in at 9th place is another car where it's like, yeah, I've talked about its brothers and sisters, but I never really talk about this specific generation. The Mitsubishi Eclipse GT 3rd generation, or 3G Eclipse. The 2G, I love. I've mentioned it multiple times before that a 2G GSX is like one of my dream cars. I absolutely would love to have one day. The 4G, I think, is underrated, but the 3G, I always just completely forget about. They come with a 3-liter V6, making 205 horsepower, and it is front-wheel drive. It's definitely one of the weaker generations of the Eclipse because they got rid of the wonderful inline 4G63 that can handle a bunch of power that everybody loved in the 2G, replaced it with a V6 that can't really handle that much power, but also didn't really give it that much power from factory. The 4G, that's the good thing about the 4G, is that it does have the 260 horsepower from factory, so you don't really need to tune it and modify it that much to have fun with it. But the 3G, you definitely are going to need to tune it and modify it a little bit, but since it does have that V6, it's sketchy to do so, and that's the reason why I never really talk about them. But they are kind of cool looking cars, and I do respect them. I got to ride them one time, and it was a fun car. Coming in at 8th place, however, is going to be going to the wonderful Jaguar XF. I don't talk about this car just because I forget about it. I'm going to be 100% honest. I forget Jaguar even exists 9 times out of 10. What does a Jaguar... it's like such a weird brand. British brands in general are kind of like this. Every time I like think of a British brand, I'm like, oh yeah, that brand exists and they make some cool cars. That's how it is with Jaguar every single time. This car comes with a 2-liter turbocharged inline 4, making 246 horsepower, and it is all-wheel drive. You can also get a rear-wheel drive version of this, so keep that in mind. It's the big problem with these cars, and the reason why they're even under 5K in the first place, is the reliability. Especially here in America, dude, it's hard to get parts for a Jaguar. We don't have a lot of British cars over here, so it's very hard to get parts for them. Nobody really wants them just because they're so high maintenance to take care of, but they are pretty cool while they're running. Coming in at 7th place is one that I just genuinely cannot believe I never talk about it. Realistically speaking, I do kind of talk about it, but just not with the same badges on it. The Audi A3 2nd generation, because this is pretty much a Volkswagen GTI. Mark 5, I want to say, or is it the Mark 4? One of the two. It's one of those cars pretty much just with Audi badges on it. The car comes with a 3.2-liter V6, making 250 horsepower, and it is front-wheel drive. You also can get an all-wheel drive Quattro version, but they're probably going to be a little bit more than 5K. That is a VR6 too, and so it's also probably going to be a little bit more than 5K, but you can find a 1.8, or is it 1.8 or 2.0 T in these cars? Some Audi fans gonna have to let me know in the comments below. I can't remember right now off the top of my head. But either way, yeah, they're pretty much a GTI. Just in my opinion, they look a little bit better actually too. So I don't know why I never talk about them. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna start talking about these cars more often. And coming in at 6th place is a car that I don't really talk about too much because I never really think you guys are going to like it. It always sticks out to me. I've always kind of remembered these cars just because they do kind of look different from anything else on the road, and they're just kind of like known for wagons. But I just always kind of figured like it's just not that special enough to talk about on a Car Guy channel. It's the Volvo XC70. It's a wagon, and car guys kind of like wagons, but this is not like a race car, obviously. The car comes with a 3.2-liter inline 6, making 235 horsepower, and it is all-wheel drive. It's fine, 235 horsepower. You're still going to have some fun with this thing. It's all-wheel drive. It's a wagon. You can carry your friends around in it. You'll have some fun with it for sure, but it's obviously, like I said, it's not a race car, and that's the reason why I don't usually talk about it too much, but it is an incredible car. It's reliable. It's very safe. Volvo is like #1 in terms of safety in the world, so that's good. And it does look fine, especially once you start to modify it too. I will say stock though, it does kind of remind me of a grandma car. Coming in at 5th place just kind of doesn't get talked about because, in my opinion, there is better options than this car. The Subaru Outback 2nd generation. For those who don't know, back in the early 2000s, Subaru just put the exact same motor, exact same tranny, pretty much the exact same car in every single one of their cars, but just changed the body on it and called it a different thing. And that's what this is. This is pretty much just like a wagon version of an Impreza, or a lower to the ground version of a Forester. It comes even with the same motor. It's a 2.5-liter flat 4, making 165 horsepower, going to all 4 wheels, of course, because it's Subaru. Yeah, I do like them, and I think they're a good option for sure. And they're definitely cheaper than a lot of Impreza 2.5 RSs are. And even at this point, Foresters are starting to get up there a little bit. They're still pretty cheap though. And so yeah, I mean, if you're really on a budget, or if you don't like the Foresters for some reason, or you don't like the Imprezas, or you need more space in the Imprezas, the Outback is a good option. I just never really personally thought it would suit me. Well, gosh diddly darn, smack my booty cheeks and call me some, I don't know, Ice Spice. Coming in at 4th place is another wagon, 3 wagons in a row. Would you look at that? The Dodge Magnum SXT. Now, I've talked about the SRT before. I know that. I know I've talked about the SRT Magnums before because they are kind of interesting little cars. But I never get to talk about the SXTs because on paper it doesn't sound that cool until you realize this is still a rear-wheel drive wagon. Like, it's still cool even if it doesn't have the V8. The car comes with a 3.5-liter V6 making 250 horsepower, and it is rear-wheel drive. Like, in my opinion, that's still a really cool car, especially for less than $5,000. It is the SRT V8 Magnum cooler. Obviously, what do you think? I'm a stupid idiot head? No, obviously, I think the V8 one is cooler. But imagine if that one never existed. The SXT Magnum would still probably be a car that people are like, that's pretty freaking cool. The SRT Magnum's already pretty underrated. This one's even more. Here you go, man. Here you go. All right. This is to that one guy. He was like day 7 of asking for a Hyundai Coupe. But when he says Hyundai Coupe, by the way, I'm assuming he means this one, the Hyundai Tibbron GT. Because there's only 2 Hyundai Coupes I can think of. The Hyundai Genesis Coupe, which I talk about a lot, so I know he's not asking about that one. And then the Hyundai Tibbron GT, which I will admit I never get to talk about because I just, again, don't really think anybody's going to really like them. It comes with a 2.7 liter V6, making 172 horsepower, and it is front wheel drive. It's definitely not the best engine out there, don't get me wrong. It's not super reliable. It does not make good power if you start to modify it. But if you want just a cool looking little fake it till you make it kind of car for less than $5,000, it's definitely a decent option. I will say these cars though, they're kind of like, sometimes I like Tibbrons and then sometimes I absolutely hate them. It's like the pre-facelift Tibbrons are horrendously ugly and then the facelift ones are good, or it's the other way around. I don't know, I can't remember which is which, but one of them looks good and then the other one is just horrendous. However, coming in at second place is another one that shocks me, and I've actually thought about talking about this car multiple times before, and I just never do, and I don't know why. I just always forget to. It's the BMW 750i E65. We've talked about the 740i's, the E38s on this channel quite a bit because I love those cars. I think they're really good options. But these are also under 5K, and I don't understand why I always just forget about them. They come with a 4.4 liter twin turbocharged V8, making 400 horsepower going to the rear wheels. Now, keep in mind 2 things. One, yes, that does have 400 horsepower. That sounds insane, but it is in a very heavy car. Like, this car's heavy, you know, it's not a race car, and a lot of that horsepower is going to luxury features too, not just the wheels. And the second thing is, this is pretty much a more unreliable engine than the 6 Series we were talking about earlier. It's horribly unreliable. It's going to blow up on you, but it's a luxury car. While it's running, you will literally feel like an executive, a president in this freaking thing. Like, it's going to be amazing. And I never get to see these things like modified or slammed on the ground. And I do admit they don't look the best. 7 Series just in general never looked the best. But I would love to see just like a slammed E65. That would be cool. Yeah, but coming in at first place is just like, it just scratches all the boxes for a Mark Roden video. And I don't know why it's never been in one of my Mark Roden videos. The Lexus GS430. For those who don't know, I'm a big fan of Lexus as well. Not as much as I like BMW, but I like Lexus. I like Lexus and Toyota because who doesn't? If you're a car guy and you don't like Lexus/Toyota, you're probably just not a car guy. Like, they're just an incredible brand. There's nothing to hate. What would you hate about them? There's nothing to hate about them. This is the GS430, the 3rd generation of the Lexus GS, and they come with a 4.3 liter V8, making 300 horsepower on the dot, and it is rear-wheel drive. I know what you're thinking, oh gosh, another V8 powered luxury car. Oh no. Don't worry, it's a Toyota V8, so this thing can last for like 1,000,000 freaking miles. It's absolutely ridiculously reliable. It has 300 horsepower from factory. Does it look a little weird? I guess, but I don't mind the looks of it at all. I think it looks perfectly fine. Do I like the 2nd gen Lexus GS better? Absolutely, sure. The 2nd gen GS though is absolutely gorgeous, but this is still a really good looking car that has better like technology, better modern features in it than the 2nd generation GS for right around the same price with more horsepower. Like yeah, it's only an automatic, but who cares? But ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of today's video of the top 13 cars that I never really get to talk about for less than $5,000. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more content just like this. Let me know what other videos I see in the comment section down below. Check the links in all the descriptions for any of my social medias or other YouTube channels. I got a couple other YouTube channels out there talking about other things. So go check that out if you'd like to. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This is a just out of nowhere whim of a video. I was like sitting there one day, I was like, oh, that'd be a good idea to do a video on. Just talk about cars I never really talk about. And I'll be 100% honest. Again, like I said, I think I said this in the intro already, and so I'm going to say it again. I don't actually recommend buying these cars over the cars that I talk about in the majority of my videos. The reason why I talk about those cars so often is because they're good cars. Like, that's the reason why I talk about the cars I talk about in my videos so frequently. You know what I mean? And a lot of these cars, they do have problems. Like the 3G Eclipse. Like I said, the 4G and the 2G are just better options. If you want the V6 or a more modern Eclipse, get the 4G. If you want a tuning Eclipse and you want to build it up, get the 2G. Like the car, like the Dodge Ram, the 4th gen Ram is just better than it. The 2nd gen Ram is just better than it. The 3rd gen has way too many problems, but it's cool. And I never get to talk about it because it has too many problems. So that's the reason why I wanted to make this video. I just want to talk about cars that I never really get to talk about because I don't really want to recommend them, you know what I mean? But these are still cars that I do like and part of me is still kind of wants one day. Obviously they're not top of my list, but they're there. They're cars that if I ever see like a modified version of it, I will nod my head. I'll shake that guy's hand for sure. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Das Vidania, and have check my channel, man. I've been uploading those YouTube shorts, so check those out. But Das Vidania, and have a nice night.